Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dave Mason. I'm Supply Chain Compliance and Serialization Lead in the U.S. for Novartis. And today I'm going to talk about KitCheck. It's a RFID solution being used in our Sandoz generic division. So this is a recording. I'm a little nervous here. I'll be sleeping, and so will my chickens, because we're 6 hours behind you. But at the end of this presentation, if there's some questions, please write them in the chat or provide them, and we will get back to you and make sure all your questions are answered. So let's get on with the presentation. Hopefully we can complete it in 30 minutes, I'm pretty sure. So let's get started. So who is KitCheck? KitCheck is basically a U.S. company. They're a leader in the hospital medication management, and their primary focus has been in the surgical and the emergency room kits. Now, that doesn't mean it can't be expanded in other areas of the hospital or other retail pharmacies. We will see some solutions at the end that they're using for COVID, so it has been expanded. But basically, how KitCheck works, there's an RFID tag, and embedded in that tag is a unique serial number, no other information. And then that unique serial number is uploaded into a cloud solution. And then in that cloud, the manufacturer or whoever's putting the tag on enters the batch number, the NDC, the expiration date, and then the name of the product, and also the company. So all that information is in the cloud. And as we go through the presentation, you'll see why that's important. Because I know a lot of RFID solutions, you put all the data on there. So why it's important is it allows KitCheck to build smaller tags, more durable tags. We've done a lot of testing on these tags, and I did a 2011 RFID project. And these tags, readability around liquids and metals, are much higher than in 2011. So there's not a lot of scan errors. So that's one of the advantages. The other advantage is you have this cloud with all this data and information, and there's a lot of opportunity for data analytics and other advantages to the hospitals and also the manufacturers' products. So we'll go through this in this, and you'll see this. So we'll go to the next slide, and it says, why is RFID a cure in hospital pharmacies? Well, the first thing is we'll talk about the challenges, especially in this COVID age. Hospitals are under extreme pressure on cost, not just cost, but expenses. And they don't want to decrease patient care. They want to either keep patient care where it's at, but they're always striving to improve that care. So there's an extreme pressure on all sectors of the hospitals, especially pharmacies. And what is the challenges at the pharmacy? Well, they're making all these hospital kits, and they're doing it all manual. And they have to check, do I have the right amount of product in that kit? Is the product in that kit expired? Is the product in that kit recalled? Has that product had an internal hold on it? Now, a lot of hospitals, when they're dispensing medicines, they'll find, something in the medicine, and they'll put a hold on it till they do an investigation to protect the patient. So KitCheck, as a solution, allows you to automate all that. So we will go through on the next slide kind of how it works. But basically what the solution does is it's a RFID tag. It can be put on by either the pharmacist, if you're repackaging the product medication that the hospital can do that, or compound it. And also now the next step, where Sandoz has been very instrumental, we're doing the tag inlays on our labels, and when we're packaging the product, the tag's already on there, and we're reading it, and we're putting the information into the cloud. So as I said in the last thing, the cloud, you put the information of the product, lot, batch, NDC, name of the product, and the company. And you do that, and then it's a batch file, and all the unique serial numbers are in that batch file. So that's kind of the solution. And then what happens is the hospitals have scanning stations, and as they're managing the kits back and forth or some other processes, all that data is captured and the hospital can see. So there's other advantages like cold chain. You're taking out product out of the refrigerator. It only has a certain amount of time to be out of the refrigerator. KitCheck can help you. Hey, this is the time I took it out. This is the time I put it back in. So you're actually not wasting that type of product. So there's all kinds of advantage to the solution. Other benefits are reducing errors, right? Savings. There's not all that manual management of the trays. And oh, by the way, each tray is numbered, so you know basically on your database what tray should have what configuration. And the average cost is about $4 in savings. And for a large hospital, that can be about $500,000 a year. But I think the big benefit is reducing patient errors. The patient is getting the medicines they need, and we know they're safe. So I think that's a huge benefit. So we'll go to the next slide, and I'll explain how KitCheck works. So let's say we have a kit that's coming out of an operating room or emergency room. It's been used, and there's certain products missing, right? So the pharmacist will take that kit. It's been numbered. They'll put it in the scanner. The cloud system manages all that kit based off its number, and it'll see, hey, this is missing. The pharmacist needs to dispense that. Oh, by the way, there's some expired, there's some other issues with product. You need to remove that product. Now, a lot of you will say, well, expired product. There's been situations where hospitals have found expired product in kits that were expired 11 years ago. And I'll give you another example. A colleague of mine went to the emergency room. She happened to look over at a doctor's getting ready to administer a product and said, that product's been recalled. And the doctor didn't even know. So this is what KitCheck prevents. So you go in, you see on the screen how the kit needs to be restocked. The pharmacist restocks the kit, they throw it back in the reader, and then a message comes up, yep, good to go. You get a report, you send the kit back out to the operating room or emergency area, and you're good to go, and you repeat that over and over and over. It's very simple. But one thing I do want to say is, we keep saying we're reading. Remember, all the data is going in this cloud. So you're gathering all this great data for analytics, hospital analytics, manufacturing analytics. So what's the KitCheck solution do? And I think I've repeated this over and over. It improves the efficiency of restocking. Very evident, right? Better pharmacy flows. Definitely eliminates errors in restocking. Very key to patient safety. And that's important to the hospitals. It increases visibility. Now, on our slide, it talks about, in terms of drug shortages and recalls. But let me give you some other things. Visibility to inventory. Now you can work with your manufacturer, or if you have this connected to your wholesaler, you can see inventory level. And the manufacturer can give you a message, hey, your inventory levels are low, or automatic replenishment, right? There's also another visibility, right? You can also recalls. What we do is, if we recall a product, we send it through the KitCheck. The hospital gets a notification and knows exactly where that recall product is, and they can go get it. What I understand a lot of hospitals, they basically go, they don't know what the lot is of the product they have. They go in, they go, they just wipe everything out and then ask for emergency replenishment from their wholesaler or manufacturing. So basically, patients might not have access to an important medicine. So that's very, very important, right? It basically decreases cost, Prescription analytics is very important. But also, if you're doing inventory replenishment with a manufacturer, you don't have your supply chain worrying, do I have enough? When do I need to order? It's automatically there for you. So it's very important. Another thing that's not on this slide, we had an FDA pilot with KitCheck. And if you want to see the pilot results, they're on the FDA website under DSCSA. But basically what we were looking at is aggregation errors. And this is going to be important in 2023. Everything right now is with a 2D code and line of sight. So there's going to be aggregation errors of serial numbers in your shippers and your shipments. Well, how can you prevent that? Well, we proved that if you use a non-line of sight technology like RFID, your aggregation errors basically go away because you're scanning everything not line of sight. You know exactly what's in that case or exactly what's in that shipment. Now, a lot of people are saying, but that's an additional cost. So I will tell you this, that basically I compared the cost of the chip from 2011 to now, and it's dropped about 1 or 2 cents. And then also, if you look at all the management of data errors that's going to happen with line of sight, the cost of applying the chip, the cost of inlaying the chip, it's offset. So you're actually doing a cost savings, because the biggest thing in supply chain in the U.S. right now, how are we going to address aggregation errors and keep product flowing to the patients? Well, this helps with a solution. So we've done testing, and basically what we do is we take RFID scanner, we have a serialization system, they talk to each other, so when the vial or whatever goes through, carton, goes through the reader, the serialization reader, it says, oh, this serial number was put on there, it's commissioned, and now it goes through the reader there, and then it writes it compared to the data, so they're connected. So the serial number is then connected to the unique serial number on the chip, and then that's uploaded into the cloud. So that's how that kind of works. They already have done some enhancements to the writers and readers on the lines and proved that this works. So there are some good opportunities for the KitCheck solution. So let's get to the next slide. RFID inlays. So I do want to talk a little bit about inlays. I think I talked about this earlier. If you look up in your right-hand corner, that shows a label, and behind it is the tag. We do, and also KitCheck has certified suppliers globally, and they work with other suppliers. We're working one in Europe right now to do the qualification so all the tags meet the KitCheck requirements, and that's very important because of the readability. They'll take vials or syringes. I don't know if everybody knows metals and liquids affect the readability. So they do all this trial and testing to get the best readability possible. And we've been in the high over 99.5% range and readability around liquids and syringes. So it's very impressive compared to 2011. So let's get back to the chip. So there's a detail chip, and basically this is currently used in the hospital, and it allows the hospital to manually put the label on, and then also store a little more data on the chip if they want to, compared to the cloud. And then there's a basic chip that just has a unique serial number. The hospital puts that on, right? It scans it. It programs the data in the cloud system. The same thing we would do in a manufacturer, NDC, batch, lot thing. And that basically sits somewhere so it can be obscured on a labeled product. So what was happening was hospitals, that's a cost to a hospital to add this tag, but the cost of adding the tag was a savings on all the medication errors and efficiency on the tray loading. But there was another thing. KitCheck came to us and said, hey, manufacturer, Sandoz, you make these products, can you inlay the tag and label the product on the packaging line so it's called KitCheck ready to the hospitals? And we said, yes. So we did it, and I have to tell you, the hospitals love it. That's one less step for them. It's another cost reduction to them, and it makes it much more efficient now at the pharmacy. They're not having to add tags, scan, upload the data, then put it into the kit, scan. They don't have to do any of that. They just pull it from the pharmacy, they put it in the kit, they scan it, and off they go. So, very good process. And as you can see here, where KitCheck's talking about, we're adding more and more tags at the manufacturing. So we're not the only manufacturing looking at the KitCheck solution. So basically, as I said, it eliminates the manual labeling. It provides greater granularity use of level for manufacturers. Here's one thing we're learning. Hospitals love unit of use, and if we could do more unit of use, and with the KitCheck, that gives us a greater visibility to the inventory and makes it much more accurate and keeps our inventory levels stable too. So there's a thing. We talked about already in the third bullet point, DSCSA previously. And then also, I do want to mention the cloud-based solution at KitCheck is completely CGMP, and it has been completely qualified. We did an audit on it. It came out very good. They've done a lot of work. They follow all the validation parameters set forth by the FDA. So it's a very compliant system. And as you see here, it talks about managing recalls, returns, expiry, and partner network. And you say, well, returns? Well, yeah, we can actually put a price or whatever on that, so the hospital gets exactly what they paid in a return on that product. So as we keep building use cases, it allows the hospitals to be even more effective and reduce their cost. So here's our partnership with Sandoz, and as I said, we register the vial at the site once it goes through the reader, and basically in that file is all the unique serial numbers we scanned. We close the batch, we put all the information in, and then as we distribute it to the hospitals, they basically start scanning. And as we've talked about, we have a scan receipt. There's safety checks at the cabinets, and also, as I talked about before, from a cold chain perspective, they can manage medicines in and out of the refrigerators and reduce waste. And this is all done up in the cloud registry. So this is why the cloud is so important. It is much more effective to put all this data in the cloud than try to jam all this data or write all this data onto a RFID chip. Just to show you some of the technologies, here's here if we go to the left is basically a mobile cart for scanning used in the hospitals, and then in between they're looking at now expanding this up into the pharmacies at pick stations, hospital floors and pick stations, so the hospital can even do more management, and you can use mobile scanners, and also a lot of your cell phones can read these chips. So the technology of KitCheck is evolving as the technology improves, and we're finding more use cases and into the cloud. So that's kind of KitCheck, and what I want to do is give you some real-life cases up in the hospitals with COVID. So everybody knows with the COVID vaccine, as you see here, it is a cold chain product, and one of the products, the one from Pfizer, is stored at a very low temperature. Here we see minus 181 degrees. And there's a hospital in Reading, that's in Pennsylvania, that if you see on the right-hand side, that's the pharmacist's chart. He was trying to manage the vaccines in and out of the freezer, right? Transporting it to the clinic, bringing it back and putting it in the refrigerator. So he didn't have to waste COVID vaccine because he wasn't sure if the temperature guidelines had been exceeded. So KitCheck came in. They put all these chips in, and they solved a solution where it reduced the waste. The hospital knew exactly what to do without this big whiteboard because it was all stored in the cloud. And how did that work? So basically, here's how it worked. The vaccine was received in Pfizer in 195 vials per unit. It went in the ultra freezer. Once it was pulled out to go to the refrigerator, the pharmacist would put a label on it. They would scan it, and they would put it in the refrigerator. So now the cloud knew from the scan, the clock started ticking, right, for 5 days. So now the pharmacist was going to pull it to give the COVID vaccine to the clinic. So what happens is they would scan it, send it to the clinic. Then what the clinic didn't use that day, they would bring back, scan it, put it back in the refrigerator. And that gave you the length of time, how much more time you had to have the vaccine at the clinic and not have to destroy it. So I will tell you this. In New Jersey, I was talking to some friends, and I don't know how it is in Europe, but everybody's trying to get the COVID vaccine. And they've been trying online to get the COVID vaccine. They can't find it. So they found out from some of their friends, if you go to these big mega vaccine facilities, at the end of the day, even if you're not on the list, if you show up and you have paperwork, and there's a special paperwork you get on the internet, you can get the vaccine without an appointment and not even in that age group that's getting the vaccine. And why is that? Because they're throwing away all this vaccine every day at the end of the day because they're not tracking any of the refrigeration requirements. So at the end of the day, they're just chunking a lot of vaccine that could go into patients' bodies. So this is a very good use case for COVID. Here's another one in the state of Pennsylvania. Basically, we're using the KitCheck cloud with RFID technology so the hospitals can go to any internet connection and know what the vaccine inventory is from the state of Pennsylvania so they can order as much vaccine as possible. So that assures that hospitals can get as much as possible and get it to the patients. So these are great use cases of KitCheck outside the emergency area in the operating room and how effective in helping people and patients. So that's all I have today. I hope you appreciated this presentation. As I said at the beginning, if you have any questions, I'm sure there could be a lot of questions. They will be gathered, and I will be glad within my relationship with KitCheck. We will answer all those questions. If you want to learn more about KitCheck, you can go to kitcheck.com, and there you have some contact information. So everybody have a great day and stay safe.